Dubai real estate market after the Iran war. Here is what the data shows. What Dubai's defense, financial system, and real estate market actually did during the Iran war and why the data will surprise you. On February 28, 2026, the UAE came under the heaviest missile attack ever directed at a modern city. I have been selling real estate in Dubai for 12 years. In that time, I have had one objection from international investors that I could never fully silence. The moment a bomb falls on Dubai, everyone leaves. It's 90% expats. The whole thing collapses overnight. I'm standing here today to tell you that day came, unfortunately, and everything those investors predicted was wrong. Here is exactly what happened, what the numbers show, and why I now believe Dubai property prices will become unaffordable faster than almost anyone is predicting. February 28, 2026, US and Israel struck Iran overnight. Iran retaliated immediately, and the UAE took the heaviest volume of attacks of any country in the region. On day one alone, Iran fired 165 ballistic missiles, 2 cruise missiles, and 541 drones at the UAE, confirmed by the UAE Ministry of Defense. The sounds were real, and the alerts were real, and the attacks didn't stop. They continued for 32 days straight. That same morning, I got a new inquiry, a family from the Netherlands looking to buy property in Dubai. We scheduled a meeting for 2 p.m. that same day. I assumed they would cancel. The news was everywhere. You could hear the air defense system intercepting incoming missiles in the sky above the city. They didn't cancel. At 2 p.m. they walked in. We sat down. We could hear sounds outside during that meeting. We both acknowledged it and kept talking because they had already decided that what was happening outside didn't change the fundamentals of why they were here. The family is now 1 month into this conflict, ready to finalize their purchase. Now, here is a full 32-day picture from February 28th to today, April 1st, 2026. Iran fired a total of 2,391 attacks at the UAE, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones combined. Of those 2,391, the UAE air defense system intercepted 2,386. That's 99.8% interception rate. The 110 impacts reported in the news are not missiles that got through. Those are debris from successful interceptions, shrapnel falling after projectile was destroyed mid-air. 5 direct hits on intended targets out of 2,391. The THAAD system combined with UAE air defense performed at a level that has no historical precedent in modern warfare. Here is what the world predicted: mass exodus, flights packed, the expat population gone without days. Here is what actually happened. In the first 72 hours, Dubai airport was shut. Over 11,000 flights across the Middle East were cancelled, affecting more than 1 million passengers according to aviation analytics from Syrium, the biggest aviation disruption since COVID. Western governments issued level 3 travel advisories. The US State Department told citizens in 14 Middle Eastern countries to depart now. The UK had 138,000 registered British nationals in the region. The Foreign Office said most were not seeking to leave. France, Germany, Australia, and New Zealand deployed military and charter aircraft. Evacuation infrastructure was in place. Those planes went back largely empty. CNBC ran the headline: even with the UAE under attack, most expats will save, say they are not leaving. Residents describe a mix of normality and quiet tension. Gyms open, supermarkets stocked, people going to work. A Hong Kong expat who briefly moved to Fujairah told ABC News she planned to return to Dubai. Her words: "I think the scare, the fears will be short-term." My Dutch client is one of those people. He had European passport, a home to return to, the means to leave on any day of the past months. He stayed and now he's buying. That's a real answer to the everyone will leave argument. Not theory, not statistics. A real person with the real options making a real decision. While Dubai absorbed the heaviest missile campaign ever directed at any city in modern history, here is what happened in countries thousands of kilometers away from the conflict. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point through which 20% of the world's seaborne oil and LNG passes. The International Energy Agency called what followed the largest supply disruption in the history of global oil market. In Australia, not involved in the conflict, over 600 fuel stations ran out of at least one grade of the fuel, confirmed by Bloomberg. Energy Minister Chris Bowen told Parliament that 520 stations nationwide were in shortage by March 24. New South Wales alone had 289 stations without diesel or petrol. The Australian government announced a national fuel security plan on March 30 and cut fuel excise by 50%. Australia entered this crisis with only 36 days of petrol stockpile. Analysts warned it might not be enough if the conflict extended past May. Across Europe, Dutch TTF gas price nearly doubled to over 60 euro per megawatt hour. Shell CEO warned Europe could face fuel shortage by April. The European Central Bank flagged stagflation risk and technical recession in Germany and Italy by end of 2026. The Philippines declared a national energy emergency on March 24. Sri Lanka reintroduced weekly fuel rationing. Bangladesh imposed per vehicle limits at fuel stations. Dubai shelves fully stocked throughout. Every system, financial, transport, logistic, healthcare, communications, remained open across all 32 days. Now, the financial picture. S&P Global reaffirmed the UAE's credit rating at AA/A1+, with a stable outlook confirmed March 6 to 7, 2026, during the active conflict. AA means long-term financial stability, strong reserves, low default risk. A1+ means short-term credit worthiness, strong enough to support government spending and mega projects without stress. Credit default score, the market's real-time measure of how likely a country is to default, puts Abu Dhabi at 35 and Dubai at 65. Below 100 is a threshold analysts define as investor safe haven territory. Source: Bloomberg Terminal and C-bonds. Monetary base coverage: 119%. Below 50% is considered high volatility risk. Banking sector assets: 5.4 trillion dirhams. Banking liquidity: 920 billion dirhams. Banking reserves: 400 billion dirhams. Foreign exchange reserves: 1 trillion dirhams. Source: Central Bank of UAE. Total UAE debt today: 112 billion dirhams. GDP: 533 billion dirhams. That's 5-to-1 ratio. Against strategic assets of 1.47 trillion dirhams. That's 13-to-1 ratio. Dubai's GDP grew 5.4% in 2025 to exceed 937 billion, confirmed by Sheikh Hamdan on March 30, 2026, during the conflict. On March 26, 4 weeks into active strikes, the DIFC achieved its highest ever global ranking, 7th position on the Global Financial Centers Index. On March 30, 2026, 31 days into active missile attacks, Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, Crown Prince of Dubai, chaired the Executive Council and announced 1 billion dirham business support package rolling out of from April 1st or 3 to 6 months. The measures: 3 months deferrals of government fees, hotels permitted to postpone 100% of sales fees and the tourism dirham, customs grace periods extended from 30 to 90 days, streamlined residency permit renewals to retain international talent. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid said the same week, our national institutions operate with complete efficiency, our defense forces operate with complete professionalism. Our private sector keeps pace with developments with complete responsibility. Australia was announced fuel rationing plans the same week. The UAE was deploying a business stimulus package. One country is under missile attack, the other is running out of petrol. Now, the Dubai real estate market numbers. Transaction volume slowed in the first 2 weeks of the conflict. That's accurate and expected. Here is what the data shows happened after. In just the first week of March, March 2nd, to 9s, during active strikes, Dubai recorded 11.93 billion in property transactions across 3,570 deals. During Ramadan 2026, which ran through most of March, a period that historically slows the market, total transactions reached 50.6 billion, up 29.7% year on year. Luxury properties, specifically across the first 24 days of March, recorded 10.92 billion in developer sales, a 42% year-on-year increase in transaction volume. The single largest deal of the month, a 422 million luxury apartment on the Jumeirah Peninsula. 16 transactions in the 50 to 100 million bracket totaled 1.04 billion dirhams. 4 plots in Qusaym first sold for between 125 million to 152 million each. The final week of March, 13.14 billion dirham transactions across 4,028 deals. A 422 million apartment purchase during an active missile conflict is not speculation. That's long-term conviction capital from people who ran the numbers and chose investing in Dubai anyway. Here is my forecast built on 12 years in this Dubai property investment market. Dubai attracted 9,800 millionaires in 2025 alone, bringing an estimated $63 billion in wealth. Over the prior decade, 1.35 million people relocated to Dubai, a demand base that's residential and long-term, not speculative. This conflict has tested Dubai's defense and its financial system, its supply chain, and its government in real time in front of the entire world. The result, 99.8% interception rate, shows stock throughout, banks open throughout, GDP growth confirmed mid-conflict. 1 billion dirham stimulus on day 31. The FC ranked 7th globally during week 4 of missile strikes. The wealthy families, family offices, and institutional investors watching this will now accelerate their decisions. That acceleration is already visible in the March numbers. When the conflict de-escalates, it compounds. Supply in prime locations is already tightening. Only 48% of Dubai's 2026 supply pipeline is expected to meet its original handover timeline due to logistics disruptions, meaning inventory shrinks at exactly the moment demand accelerates. Today, prices are negotiable, payment plans are flexible, developers are motivated. That window exists because of uncertainty, and uncertainty has an expiry date. I will leave you with one last thought about my Dutch client. He came to me on the first day of the conflict with a new inquiry, not despite what was happening on the same day it started. 1 month later, through 2,391 attacks, he's ready to finalize. He had every reason and every means to walk away. He didn't. In 12 years, the clients who make decisions like that call me with the data in front of them, while others are panicking, are the ones who look back 5 years later and say it was the best investment they ever made. The question is which side of the decision you want to be on. The conflict created uncertainty. Uncertainty created a window. And windows in Dubai real estate don't stay open. This city has proven that over and over. If you are thinking about making a move and you want to talk through the actual numbers, not the marketing version, the real version, the link is in the description. I answer every message myself. And if this video showed you something the news didn't, subscribe, because this is exactly what I will keep doing, breaking down what's actually happening in this market, one video at a time.